Welcome to Chapter 7, Psychological Hazards, or Psychosocial Hazards, as they've identified. This has become a major topic in the workplace and in society in general. And we talked about this extensively when we went through this the first time. We were talking about stress. And you've heard me say several times that school should be difficult or hard, but it should not be impossible. And I've tried to be as understanding and supportive and flexible as I can. And I hope that's had a positive impact on you as a student, at least for the two courses we have together. I'm not trying to cause you undue stress, but certain things need to be done, like exams, assignments, midterms, finals, etc. So trying to reduce your stress with giving you class time to work on projects and assignments, etc. So it costs the Canadian economy a tremendous amount of money, estimated to be anywhere from 12 to 33 billion a year, because people take time off. I'm stressed. I know that in the past, I have deliberately taken 1 or 2 days a term for mental health days. I just get to the point where I just need a day where I don't do anything over and above the weekends. And sometimes I've even worked on the weekends for many years. So I just need a day where I just can veg, or I can just not think about work or think about it very little, not actually have to go into a classroom and present. And so I've done that. And I don't necessarily tell my bosses about it a lot, but I don't take physical sick days very often. At most, I think in years, it's been like 2 where I was truly sick. So I think that that is a fair trade-off. Heck, I know some of my colleagues at a certain school, he took 2 days off because he took a Thursday and a Friday off because him and his wife wanted to go to Vegas. So if that helped reduce his stress, I guess it is, but he called in sick. And that's a somewhat common aspect that people are very stressed in today's world. So in this particular case, you have family situations. There are students. I've had students in my classes who were exposed to violence in their home lives, and it affected their work performance, their attendance in class. I know lots of students who suffer from low self-esteem and anxiety. They think, well, I've been told all my life I'm stupid, or I'm fat, or I'm this, or I'm not good enough, whatever. And yeah, they live with those psychological damage, shall we say, for even when they go into the workplace. If you've been told that you're not very smart, you go into a workplace and the first time you make a mistake, which we all do, it's going to be like, oh, I'm an idiot, I'm not very good, I'm going to get fired, etc. So there's that self-doubt that creeps in. So again, the categories: acute, chronic, daily, and catastrophic has to do with frequency and duration. So you may want to have this slide available for your midterm exam. It's a nice little summary about talking about the frequency, the duration, the intensity, and the time of onset. So I'm not sure I need to go through each one individually. The acute is, you know exactly when it happened. It's like if you unfortunately broke a bone, things along this line. I know that we had a student in class who said that they were in a car accident, and that would be an acute stressor, let alone the physical effect of the accident. And most of at some point have probably been in a car accident, whether it be a minor fender bender or something more severe. So chronic is difficult to deal with. It's that you as students might really relate to this, that as the term goes on, maybe the first couple of weeks of the term, you're kind of excited, things are good, and then you start getting into the middle part of the term and you get the doldrums. Well, I'm only halfway done the course. I still got all this work to do. I've done all this work. And then hopefully there's a bit of a boost towards the end of the course where you get that, oh, I've only got 2 weeks left. I know it's a lot of work. I've got to get, but oh, I accomplished this. I handed in my term paper. I did my assignment. Oh, I've got a mark sufficient enough to pass the course before I go into the final exam. So, and again, in today's world, one of the things is nagging worries about job security. I shared with you a story about a guy I curl with on Sunday nights. And on Sunday nights, he was never, quote, in a good mood. He literally feared that every Monday morning he would go into work and he wouldn't have a job. He worked in oil and gas when there was a lot of layoffs in oil and gas, and he was worried about his job security. And with COVID, there's a lot of people who are worried about their job security. And especially, say, some people in the administrative area. At SAIT this past week, one of their admin staff was given a temporary layoff, and they're going to be off for at least 6 months. They will not be back until, at the earliest, this is October that I'm recording this, they will not be back until May at the earliest. And their job is a receptionist. So for the last 7 months, they've been able to keep their job, and but now we've got cutbacks. And Red River College will be the same. There are going to be some people, especially in admin, who are told, well, you know what, we can't afford this. And Alberta, the economy is much worse than it is in Manitoba, but it's affecting people. Again, daily, we have stress in our life all the time. So dealing with stress is, you can see, a broken piece of equipment. It can be frustrating sometimes, but we have, daily stresses. It's where things aren't working. There's no day that it's in our life that everything works properly. Catastrophic, hopefully it's incredibly infrequent, very rare, and threat to of life, loss of life, or major property damage. So that would be, if your house is damaged by a hailstorm, that would be catastrophic. Where the siding and the roofing is damaged by the hailstorm. And again, September 11th, 2001. And there are people who are still living with those consequences, even though it's 19 years ago. The people who've lost a loved one who never got to meet their mom or their dad because their life was cut short. And so here's some stressors that you people feel. Career stressors, okay? Am I going to get a job? What kind of job am I going to get? How much am I going to, when I'm done school? There's those stressors too. I told you about a student of mine who was so stressed, literally could not sleep some nights because they are graduating in December and they didn't have a job. Then 2 weeks ago, they actually received 2 job offers on the same day. The joy in their voice when they shared that with me was just incredible. The amount of stress, yes, they've still got stress. They wanted to take a bit of a time off between one job and the other. Their current employer says, we really need you, so they're not going to take time off, which I think might be a bit of a mistake, but that's their choice. And they're going to go right from one job to the next after they graduate. And then in January, when they start, that's a really busy time. They've already been told this is a really busy time. Normally we start people in May, where it's more leisurely. We have more time to train you. But when you start in January, you're going to have to hit the ground running. You're going to have to put in extra hours, etc. So once again, they go from one stress to another to stress, and they don't get vacation for a year. One of the things you might want to talk to an employer about is, can I take some vacation as I earn it rather than having to work an entire year with no vacation? Can I at least get a few days off here or there? Maybe even a day off without pay if you can afford it. So here's several organizational factors. Organizational culture. Some organizations are very high stressed. I told you about the situation with Cargill and one employee trying to cause harm to another employee. Psychological and social support. Some organizations are not friendly. They're not warm and friendly. I've worked for an organization that was mean. They would go out of their way to be mean to you. I even had a supervisor one time. Every evaluation says, "I have to beat you up about this." That was his exact words. So everything else was fine. 9 out of 10, right? Everything's good. And then at the end, and I even had another supervisor one time. He says, "Oh, I can't let you go unless I say," basically he said, "Can't let you go unless I say something critical of you." Really? Is that really necessary all the time? No, we don't have to be told we're the most wonderful person all the time, but they went out of their way to be critical and mean-spirited. Fortunately, in both of those situations, things have turned around 180 degrees, and now we have an incredibly supportive organization. So that, going to work is much more pleasant and less stressed. There was times they would go to work and say, am I even going to have a job at the end of the day? Do I even want this job at the end of the day? Came so close to leaving. It's just, but it's like when you get treated properly, it makes a big difference. And you people understand that. That could be at work and it could be in your own home lives too, right? So how do you handle it? Negative feelings, right? And it can also cause physical stress, like upset stomachs, headaches, things like that. You have tense muscles. You may not even realize it. So again, here's some moderators. Okay, so it changes the relationship between the variables, and sometimes that means the people have to change. The risk factor, the variable that increases the negative effects of the stress, as you can see. The buffer that protects people from the negative stress. So if you're worried about losing your job, there was a lady at Mount Royal University. She was laid off permanently in the spring. She happens to be in a relationship. She's married. She happens to be in a personal situation where she's fairly well off. And so she doesn't have an income anymore, but she, she still has a house or a place to live. She still has food on her table. Yes, I'm sure it'll have an impact in some way on their lives, but she's got that cushion, which is what some of you people are looking to build for yourselves if you don't have it already. Again, we talked about type A behavior, where a person is very intense, which can be very stressful. Always having to get an A or an A plus. And we also talked in class about the fact that those people can be incredibly difficult to work with. That student I just mentioned about the jobs, they've got the 2 jobs. She's very, very hard on herself, but she's not the kind of person who is hard on other people. So she will strive, work incredibly hard to do incredibly well, but she's also very pleasant to work with. She'll help people who are not as competent as she is or not as hardworking as she is. That's kind of a rare trait. It's a good trait. So psychological strain, again, affecting your mood, your concentration. You get irritable, overwhelmed, moody, depressed, etc. And again, I understand, next week you're going to be doing your midterm exams. That's stressful. As soon as you say the word exam, then you say midterm exam. The only thing more stressful is final exam because it's worth even more marks. How you handle that, if anybody in the room is really finding what's happening with the pandemic, reach out and say, I need some support. I need some breathing room. I need you to reduce my stress. Reach out to myself, and if I can't help you, then I will try and find somebody who can to help you with your anxiety and your depression. I'm not a trained clinical person. I have done what I can, but if I can do more, you need to reach out and tell me that. I've tried to be flexible with due dates. I can't. The midterm's at a certain time. And if it's overwhelming for you, we don't want you to get to that point. And, let us know. And I will talk to the school and find out what we can do, to try and make things a bit more bearable for you. And again, you can get depression and anxiety. I have seen this more, or at least students are more open this term than I've ever seen before, and that's actually a very positive. That the students are realizing, and that I just need a bit of a break. I need a bit of a break. There is stress with going to school. There's certain things I can't just say, oh, just hand in the assignment whenever you want. I've been very flexible in the first half, but I made a deadline of October the 16th. And if you don't hand it in by the 16th, then I'm unfortunately, you're not going to earn any marks on it. Hand in what you've got. We need to get some work done. And that's just a reality. Again, it's physical strain. You can see strokes and ulcers, and it's even potential high blood pressure, things along this line. And you have stress that's not just related to school. You have stress that's related to work or income or relationships that you have that are maybe all relationships cause stress. Kids, adult relationships, things along that line. And the nail biting and the nervous tics, I believe, when we were going through this in class, one of the students shared that they were actually biting their nails. So that's a way to try and relieve the stress. And, some people smoke, some people drink, some people play games. Some people go for jogs to reduce their stress, whatever the case may be. So you have increased absenteeism, reduced performance. We went through that case where that really good employee was starting to show up late and then maybe occasionally missing a day of work. They don't get along with others at work. It's not the person. It's a stressful situation. What's wrong with John today? What's wrong with Mary today? What's wrong with, Ramandeep, okay? Whomever. So it can come out sometimes in a very unhealthy way. So you need to identify the stressors, survey the employees. Sometimes management is clueless. Under the previous regime at SAIT, senior management was so out of touch with what was going on with the employees. And so was the board of directors. They thought the president, who'd been there for 15 years, was doing this phenomenal job. No, she'd been there 15 years. They had to cancel her retirement going away. Like they were going to have a sort of a little going away gathering. Well, not that little, okay? They had to cancel it because nobody went to it. She'd been there 15 years, but she'd been so mean to people, right? She was actually originally taught grade 2. Well, it's very different when you're teaching grade 2 as to running a post-secondary place. She was there for 15 years. Management thought she was great. Sorry, the board of directors thought she was great. After 15 years, nobody wanted to go to her retirement farewell. They cancel it. That tells you there how she was viewed. And so finding out what the employees are really thinking. They won't, they have to have anonymous ways of being able to express themselves. Nobody would go up to that person and say, you are a mean and cold-hearted person. But that's what they were. Because, of course, that person would then, because they were mean and cold-hearted, they would, oh yeah, and remember, they were the president of the school. They would quite possibly get you fired, even though you were telling the truth, or at least the truth from your perspective. Preventative stress management. Some of you might do meditation, yoga, go to the gym, burn off some energy, get endorphins from the workout, etc. Do some of your favorite activities, whether it be have a meal or, again, something physical. So, sometimes even because you do a lot of mental work, even just doing something physical, even just going out and kicking a soccer ball around, or having a few laughs, or things along this line. One of the things that I did when I went to university was I curled, because it was physical, not dramatically physical, but it was a different way of, it helped release some of my stress from school. And again, here's different levels: primary, secondary, tertiary. So you can actually remove the stress, but you're always going to have stress in your life. That is a fact. And you move from one type of stress to another. You can see that yoga, meditation, I don't know, I've never tried yoga and meditation, but some people who do it, they find it very relaxing, even if you just go to your happy place. When I get really super stressed, I will close my eyes and I'll go to my happy place. There is a place that I visited. There's a beach on a Caribbean island, and it was the most beautiful beach I've ever been on in my entire life. So when I get really stressed, I will literally close my eyes. I will think about walking on that beach and the sand beneath my feet and the water lapping up on the beach and going over my toes. And it helps to release my stress. It's very pleasant. It's very enjoyable. And there was a place that I really liked to eat at that resort. Great food. Just barbecued chicken and ribs. Sorry, I'm going on and on, but that helps to reduce my stress. And do something nice for yourself. Treat yourself to whatever you can. Treat yourself to an hour of no school, right? Just go and watch something on TV, whatever the case may be, or go sit outside and have a iced tea or whatever you want. Again, here's another table that you may want to keep for the midterm exam. Again, I refer to the study guide that you were given. And again, here's some examples, which again, I'm not going to go through in great detail, but offering sick days and leave options, that's not the best. Get the redesign the job so it's less stressful. And with COVID, there are a lot of people, students and faculty and admin staff, who are very stressed about the dramatic change. A year ago, we would never have imagined, well, not imagined, but we would never have thought that we would be doing things the way that we are. And this huge change that is now going to be in place for at least a year. And who knows how much longer it'll be in place. You want things to be fair. You want the process to be fair, the outcomes to be fair. I can't do the work for you, people. I've tried to be very fair with the due dates and things along that line. One or two of you said that you find the two courses I'm teaching you to be the least stressful of all of the courses. But I did put a bit of stress in your life by saying you have a due date. And if you don't hand it in by this due date, I'm going to give you 0. So, and if you were a few days late, fine. But after, I'm recording this on October the 15th, by October the 16th, tomorrow, if you don't hand in the work for the first half of the course, I'm going to assign you 0. If you hand it in on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, I am going to give you 0. And if that causes you stress, well, you need to get it done. Hand in whatever you want, but get it done. And I'm not going to accept it after. I don't want things from the first half going into the second half of the course. Some psychological stressors: when you have a malfunction, something's not working properly, this causes us frustration. And again, increased job demands, increased expectations from continuous learning. As you're well aware, when you're done school, you're not done learning. There's going to be many other courses you have to take: cyber training, workplace health and safety, and hopefully this course will help you with that. Training on new software. When you get a new operating system on your phones, that can cause stress because things don't work the way they did before. And technology, as you can see, is this person working or is this person sitting on, looks like a beach? And so with laptops and things along this line, and Wi-Fi everywhere, it's like, where is work? You could be working while you're in an RV. I've done work when well, it's not quite the same, but yeah, when I've outside, I can go outside on my balcony and I can do work, and I even travel the world and do work. So you have conflict with family. Uh, Mommy, daddy, could you come play? Your child doesn't understand you have work to do, or they start to resent the fact that you have work to do. It can cause conflict within the family, too much work, etc. Uh, the amount of time a person spends in a particular role. Some people are workaholics. There are actually people who will go on vacation and cut their vacation short because they just need to get back to the workplace, or they're out on a beach somewhere and they're on their phone. I've had a student come to my place to watch a baseball game, and he's on his phone. It's people texting him from work, and even though it's his day off, we're actually encouraged as faculty to not respond to emails on weekends. I get students who will send me emails on weekends, and it's actually hard for me to not respond sometimes. So but we're told to do that. Those days are our days off. We're not supposed to. And some people are very good with that. They're on vacation. You get a notice, I'm on vacation. So hopefully that helped a little bit in preparing you for the